Today, we are turning a normal space marine into a Halloween-themed miniature. We are talking a pumpkin head, a flowing cape, a scary scythe, and even some glowing effects to make him really pop. And at the end of the video, you will have a scary miniature that's perfect for Halloween. So let's get into it. I start by taking out some air drying clay and just rolling a little sphere out of it. This will become our pumpkin head. Then I try to stick it onto the miniature's head. And it took a little bit of try and error to get it right and to get it secured. But yeah, eventually I got it done. Then I start carving out the pumpkin lines, those classic grooves that make it look like a pumpkin and not just a blob of clay. And after that, I poke 2 holes for the eyes and give him a nice little smile. And last but not least, I add a tiny leaf on top, because that little leaf really ties it all together. Here I slapped some black wash over the rest of the miniature, just to see where the colors will sit. My idea is to keep the rest pretty dark, so that the orange head will really stand out. And at this point I just couldn't leave the head unpainted, so I mixed some red and yellow paint to make a vibrant orange. And then applied it as the base coat for the pumpkin. I added yellow to the eyes and mouth to create a glowing effect from the inside of the pumpkin. And to enhance the glow, I darkened areas of the pumpkin that wouldn't catch light. So I added a dark brown color. I also painted the leaf green. And to make the eyes really pop, I added white highlights for the final glowing effect. But at this point the miniature still looked like it needed something. So I decided to add a cape or a cloak. I use milliput for it because it is easier to mold and you can get more precise than a regular clay. I roll it out and stick it to his back and shape it so it looks like it is flowing in the wind. Then I smooth the texture with sculpting tools and add natural folds, so it looks like a real cloth and not just a solid lump. And finally, I add a tiny chain in the front so it actually feels like he's wearing it. Now it's time for the weapon, and what's better than a scythe for a Halloween themed miniature? I cut a piece of aluminum wire and bend it into the scythe shape. I add another piece of milliput to give the blade some weight, and then attach it to the miniature so he actually looks like he is holding it. And after waiting a couple of hours for the milliput to harden, the blade was still looking kind of dull, so I decided to sharpen it. And I have to go really slow because I am not entirely sure how to hold it securely. And safety first, right? So I had to be pretty careful and I took my time with it. As I mentioned before, I really wanted the rest of the miniature to be dark, but I couldn't decide if the cape should be red or black. So I went for a compromise. The outside of the cape would be grey and black, and the inside would be crimson red. It gives the cape a really nice, high-end looking finish. Then I add some dark washes on the outside to shade it and tone down the colors, and I also use the dark wash for the inside of the cape, just enough to make the red look a bit deeper and more natural. And after that, now is the time to paint the scythe. So I used brown color for the wooden shaft and silver for the blade and a chain. But it looks too clean, too factory new, so I added black washes to give it some wear and tear and to make it feel like it belongs with the rest of the miniature. And at this point I could have been already done here, but as always I couldn't resist to add some additional ambient lighting coming from the pumpkin. So I put some orange highlights on the parts of the miniature facing upwards, facing the pumpkin. And as a secondary light, I added a subtle green glow from below. It is a small change, but I think it really helps to sell the glowing effect. And with that being done, let's now take a look at the final result. Thanks guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like, subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this little Space Marine conversion, and happy Halloween!